But I mean, again, he doesn't know who Gabriel is, right? Because he didn't come from an Abrahamic faith. The people of Mecca were pagan.
Quran is mentioned, if this book was from other than God, they would have found in it many contradictions.
If a book is without contradictions, that has no bearing on whether it comes from God or not. I've had phone books that are inerrant, but I certainly don't think God gave them.
That we believe without understanding.
The brother asked a very important question, that most of the scholars say that listening to music, watching movies, and most of the television programs, they're haram. So how can we have fun? Let me tell you, brother, at the outset that having fun is permitted in Islam as long as the fun is halal fun.
That the standard narrative has holes in it.
The Prophet tells us because Satan or the devil sleeps over our nostrils. Those who oversleep and not pray Fajr on time, Satan urinates in their ears.
I really do think Jesus was crucified and that he really was dead and buried. He thought that he was a son of God in the sense that he was specially chosen by God. I think Jesus really did think he was going to be the Messiah, the future king of Israel. I mean, that is, after all, why they crucified him.
Hello everyone, and peace of Christ to all of you. I apologize, I'm a little bit late. I think 1 hour late, something like that, I'm not sure. But I hope you understand the situation. I went to the bedroom and I found something very upsetting. Imagine, brother, you go to the bedroom, you find your wife in the lap of somebody else, doing boom, boom together. And then what I should do? I told the guy to wait because I need to find 4 witnesses. The guy, he said, don't worry, take your time, just go and let me know when you are coming back. We will continue. I went. I knocked at the first neighbor door. He said, I'm busy. We are doing boom with my wife. I said to him, are you sure you are the one doing it or somebody else? He said, I'm sure. Actually, I have my wood there too. Okay, so. And it took me a lot of time. And then, brother, I went back. And I found the guy still in the bed. But they are not doing boom, boom. I have 4 witnesses. I told him, please do something. He said, that's it, we're done. Brother, what I will do now? According to Islam, there is no fornication and there is no adultery and there is no cheating. Because you have to have 4 witnesses. And they have to see the private part of the male going inside the private part of the female. What you see in the picture now is not enough to prove anything in Islam. No. Even if they are in the top of each other, excuse my language. Because even if you have all those witnesses, they did not see his private part getting in. Neither coming out. Welcome everybody. This is the wisdom of Allah. Let us have some halal fun.
Was that if a woman, if a wife commits adultery and she's not pregnant and the husband finds out, either by her confessing to him or him catching her red-handed.
You hold on. How a Muhammadan he can cut his wife red-handed? Can you elaborate? Sure. I will elaborate.
And that person, he or she, are caught or is caught red-handed. And red-handed means that 4 male Muslim witnesses saw the actual act.
They have to see the actual act. Excuse me, my voice is tired. It's very cold here. See, brother, what this sheikh did not describe for you, that you have to see the penis literally going in and out. And Muhammad, he described it as the pen go inside the inkwell. As the pen go inside the inkwell. Now here you ask yourself, what is the point of seeing the penis in the inkwell? I mean, is the woman is a good woman if she is naked with the guy and he is on the top of her and his penis is not in when they came? Is a decent woman? You know, each time you read about this garbage religion, you ask yourself, was Muhammad really, not only is for sure not a prophet, but was he really making fun of those people, or what he is doing exactly? How in the world such a thing can be true? I will show you a hadith in front of me. I don't know if I can find it in English. This is islamweb.net. A person asking question. I heard that if somebody he accused a woman she is married, he have to bring 4 witnesses in front of the Farouk Umar, the caliphate. So so he asked the first witness. Now the guy he have 4 witnesses. It's not like he don't have 4 witnesses. No, no, no. He have the 4 witnesses. But no, there is more details we need to know. So he asked the first person. He said to him, "Did you see it as the stick go inside the inkwell? As the pin go inside the inkwell?" He said yes. He asked the same to the second person. He said yes. He said to the third one. He said yes. He asked the fourth one. He said yes. And then, sorry, the fourth one, he asked him. He said, "I saw his her legs, her feet, in the top of his shoulder, and they were shaking like the ear of a donkey." So the caliphate, he said to him, "Did you see his penis going inside like the inkwell?" He said no. The caliphate, he said, "Beat them." Beat who? Beat those 4 witnesses. Maybe you will not think that this is true. Maybe you might think I'm making things up. I will try to find it in English. But here we go. Translate to English. So the last one, he saw the legs in the top of the shoulder of the guy. The legs of the women, her feet, he saw them in the top of his shoulder, and they were shaking like the ears of a donkey, as it described here. When he come to the fourth, he said to him, the fourth one, "What you saw?" He said, "I saw her feet on his shoulder shaking like an ears of a running donkey." So he asked him, "Have you seen the pin in the inkwell," which means his penis? The guy, he said no. So what the judgment of the caliphate? Beat them. Beat who? Beat the witnesses. 3 witnesses, they saw the penis of the guy going in and out. As you see the first one, he said to him, did you see it? Going like the pen in the inkwell? He said, yes. The second one, he said, yes. The third one, he said, yes, I saw it going in and out. The fourth one, he said, what I saw is her feet in his shoulder, and they are shaking, you know, from the action. The caliphate, he did order to punish them, which means punishing the witnesses. So the person he's asking, this is an authentic narration? Is it correct? The answer for sure, yes, but brother, it is authentic. It is authentic. This story was narrated by Al-Hakam, etc., blah, 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 and At-Tabarani, blah, 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 and it's, you know, blah, 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 and it's sahih and authentic according to, etc., blah, 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 blah. So, yes, it is authentic. What kind of rules this rules is? So now we have 4 witnesses, they saw an action of sex, because all of them they saw. I mean, what difference is going to make if she is naked and he is in the top of her and her legs is around his neck, and the other one, he saw his penis getting in, and the other one, he saw his penis getting in, and the third one, he saw the penis getting in, the fourth one, he saw her legs around his neck. How in the world that will not prove that they are doing adultery? Brother, if you go to a Muslim guy and you are worried about the husband is coming, don't worry. He cannot do anything. You have to go find 4 witnesses, and not only that, they have to see your penis getting in and out. So if you are wearing or covering yourself by a blanket like this guy, there's no crime. And there is no fornication, because nobody saw anything. Nobody saw anything. Zero. What do you think of a such moderate, hippie, tippy, nippy religion, if we can call it religion? So now you have to go and find 4 witnesses, and then you ask this Abdul here, you say, brother, please, can you do it, like take the blanket off, if you don't mind? It's okay. Yeah, we need to take the blanket off, okay? Because now we need to see your, you know? So please, brother, can you take the blanket off? The guy, he said no. And he continued. You don't have witnesses. You don't have any proof of any fornication. Your wife, she is a good woman. There's 4 people, they saw her. The first one, he saw the penis of the boyfriend doing in, bim, boom, boom. The second one, he saw the penis. The third one, he saw the penis getting in too. The fourth one, he saw the legs of your wife around the neck of the guy. There's no proof. Still, there's no proof. There's no proof. And what make it more crazy, Muhammad, he claimed that even if you have a proof that your wife committed adultery and she is punished, let us say she is stoned, but how you can do that? I mean, it's impossible to find 4 witnesses and they will see it and doing it. But even if you do so, do you know that the son of your wife, who is not your son, he is your son? To make it simple, if a man, this guy, he is cheating with your wife, and he was sleeping with her for some time, and you are a good Abdul, mashallah. You go to the mosque, you pray 5 times a day, he come to the house 5 times a day. He's busy. You are in the mosque, he's in the house. You are in the house, he's in the mosque. Alhamdulillah. And now let us say, for the sake of argument, you got the 4 witnesses and they were able to see them doing boom boom and they saw his penis going in. And this woman, she have a child from this guy, not from you. Do you know, according to Islam, this child is yours, not his? So now, the guy who did boom boom your wife, he will have a child from your wife, and this child will inherit your money. Look at the justice, brother. The guy who slept with your wife, he will be considered your son, his son. And he will take your name, and he will inherit your money. So the guy will be, excuse my language, he screwed you twice. Once when he slept with your wife, and the second when he took your money. Because now his son will inherit your money. Can you believe it? Who is the one? The son belonged to who? Muhammad, he said, belonged to the bed. Oosh. What do you mean? Whoever owned the bed, he owned the son. It doesn't matter who sleeps in that bed, by the way. The child belonged to the bed, and the stoning for the adulterer. Do you see it? The child belonged to the bed, the owner of the bed. So your wife, she cheated in your bed, she slept with the guy, you cannot maybe have kids even. Then your wife, before you find out, she gave a baby. But this is not your baby. Doesn't matter. Now the one who was sleeping with your wife, he got you twice. First time when he slept with your wife, second time when he took your money. Now your son, which is his son, he will take your bank account, he will take the house, he will inherit, and then he will invite his daddy. Hey, daddy, the guy you slept with the mother, you know, the wife, which is my mother, daddy, he died, I inherited him. Come over, live with us. What kind of wisdom this wisdom is? How deep this religion is. Why those Christians don't see how wise it is? How we can prove anything in this court of Islam then? Actually, Muhammad, he asked his followers, before you go to your house, you better tell your wife that you are coming. Before you go, send somebody, not yourself. Before you go and open the door, don't just knock at the door and come, especially if you are away for some time. They asked a sheikh, he said, what is the wisdom in this? He said, what the wisdom? The Prophet is saving you. What you will do if you go inside the house and you find your wife with somebody else and you cannot prove it? Do you have 4 witnesses? How much is going to hurt you? Just send somebody. If she have somebody with her, he will leave, and then by the time you arrive, you know, she welcome you, and she, you know, she do belly dancing for you, and everybody is happy. Why people don't see that this is an amazing, beautiful religion? Hold on, I'm receiving a text message. Oh, your husband is not there? Oh, okay. Well, guys, I cannot stay long, okay? I just received it from there's a decent woman, the true believing. And she said, don't worry, he can get 4 witnesses because now everybody busy shuffling snow from the street. Oh, yeah, too much cold, snow, storm, we lost electricity, brother. Nobody will be busy. Okay, I got you. Yeah, don't worry about witnesses. There is nobody. 4 witnesses cannot be found. Everybody is shoveling snow, or they are watching football, and in the same time we cover ourselves by the blanket and nobody will see anything anyway, even if 4 witnesses they came. And if you take it off before they take off the blanket, there's no proof. As you see, the three guys, they saw even the penis end. Excuse my language. I mean, look how nice this guy is. Excuse my language. Excuse what? This is a religion? How would feel, imagine, that a person, he come to your house, he do boom boom to your wife, and you come and you witness it with your own eyes, and then you cannot even do anything about it. Actually, if you accuse her, the Quran in front of you, it says you will be beaten 80 times. They will beat you 80 times because you have no proof. I have 3 witnesses. They saw the penis going in, and the number 4, he saw her legs around her neck, and they were naked. He was on the top of her. Still, there is no proof. There is no proof. I will try to post the link for you. I need to shorten it, so later you don't ask me where we can find this. Give me a second. What a stupid cult. What a stupid religion. Okay, I shortened the link and I will post it for you guys. You save it, and if you don't mind, you can post it later in the comment section for those who, and if you are a person who come later, you know, just watch the chat and you will see the link. For those who download the videos, maybe it's better for you if you collect the links from the chat when you are downloading. So short link. Okay, here we go. And the reason I need to shorten it because in the title there is Arabic, and Google will not allow it to be posted. Here we go. So this is the link. You can use Google Translation to translate, in case you care. Actually, I tried to find this hadith in English, but if any of you can find it in English, but don't forget to help us and post it in the comment section later. So those that are watching the video, they can see a better translation, which is Google, especially if it's an Islamic website speaking about it. This religion, obviously, is a madman cult made up. And you know, maybe you do not know, if a Muslim woman, according to Islam, she says she is a virgin, that does not mean she never had sex yet. A virgin woman in Islam is a woman, she had sex, but she is not married, or maybe she never had sex. So even if she had sex 1,000 times, according to Islam, she is a virgin. According to Islam, she is a virgin. Now, I am sure that Abdul will say to you, it doesn't say that, CP. You are a liar, CP. How she slept 1,000 times and you say she is a virgin, CP? You know them, right? Well, if you don't believe me, listen to it.
They're still classified as virgin in their life. Women who has not married in their life. They're considered to be virgins. Even if they committed adultery or fornication many times, still, they're still classified as virgin.
Did you hear it? Did you hear it? This religion have different description for everything. So we cannot steal, but we can take the money of the Christian, the Jews, and we can steal from them. Yeah, we cannot rape, but we can jump in the neighbors if they are blonde and they are not Muslims. We can kidnap their girls and rape them. We cannot lie, but we can lie to our wife, to our husband. We can lie to the enemy. We can lie to the friends. Who's left? So I mean, they have different. They use same title you use or same words, but the words they use they have nothing to do with the word meaning you have. So if a Muslim woman, if you are going to marry a Muslim woman, I'm not insulting, by the way. This is what your sheikh is saying. So if you ask a Muslim woman, sorry, I have a question. Are you a virgin? The woman, she will say, oh yeah. Oh, sure, sure. And then you think, oh, okay, so thanks to Allah, this woman, she never had sex with anyone. And then maybe you marry her and you find that she is not a virgin. You say, you did lie to me. You said to me you are a virgin. She said, oh, don't you know that a virgin in Islam mean I had sex 10,000 times before you, but I wasn't married yet? What?
However, the punishment differs. So if a person fornicates, this means that he is not married and was not married before. And this is sort of called in Islam as a virgin. So a man or a woman who has not married in their life, they're considered to be virgins. Even if they committed adultery or fornication many times.
They are virgin. Even it's many times, brother. They are virgin. Yes, brother. Even if they committed fornication many times before, brother, they are virgin. Abdul, how many of you here are virgin? Like, come on, between us. I mean, just between us, you know, nobody will know, okay? Hey, Muslims, I am a virgin. Who is a virgin too? Are you a virgin? Who is a... This woman, she kept texting me. She said, my husband is not there. Come on, before they finished suffering the snow. You know, but I'm a virgin, by the way, okay? Yeah, you had sex 10,000 times. So what? You're a virgin, you know? Man, hey, listen. Do you think you have time to join us to be an admin in my chat, Sheikh Asim? Honestly, I like you.
A virgin and was not married before. And this is sort of called in Islam as a virgin. So a man or a woman who has not married in their life, they're considered to be virgins, even if they committed adultery or fornication many times.
Okay, so guys, I have to go because I'm going to practice more virginity. You know, this is between us and you. Please don't share it with anybody, all right? The virginity is very good, you know. We should practice it always, many time. And you will be called virgin, and that's good. What you can say, you know. Very nice, very nice. I'm so glad. Hey, my friend, the one asking me to try to contact you in Facebook, I don't have Facebook. I deleted all my account in those garbage, you know, sites. Somebody saying, American, they killed another ISIS leader. My friend, what leader? This is a joke. Those American, they are the one who protect them. They killed one, but they don't allow the Syrian army to go and kill them the rest. Joe Biden, he protect the terrorists like Biden, like Erdogan. Don't fool yourself. They killed one, There's 80,000 people in the north of Syria. 80,000 terrorists. They killed one. What a victory, man. That's amazing. What a joker. You know, some people, they try to find a victory in the place where there's no victory. You know, I mean, this is a joke. Like, you know, Erdogan, he was dreaming that he saw a dream. He will free Jerusalem. Next month, the president of Israel is coming to Turkey. And Erdogan is kissing the shoes of the Israeli to come. The same he did with the Emirat, Bahrain, Qatar. Everybody, American, they put sanctions in the Chinese because they are persecuting the Muslims. French, they did the same. England, they did the same. But all the Muslim presidents right now, as we speak, they are in China in the opening of the Olympic. Not a single Muslim country put sanctions on China. Do you see the hypocrisy? So those people, they say things in TV for you just to fool you. They are the one who support terrorists, and they love them. And they are the one who use them. So don't fool yourself. Taliban, the same as Al-Qaeda, they were sponsored by the CIA when they were fighting Russia. So those people, they use them always. This is why they don't want them to be killed in Syria, because now they are using them to stop the Russian and to stop the Iranian. When they have no need for them, they will demolish them. It's a joke. Don't worry about those things. Those liars in the White House, they are just a bunch of junkie. They have no dignity, the same as Muhammad. And I tell you that Joe Biden and his son, they are virgins. If you don't understand how virgin they are, let this guy explain to you how Joe Biden and his son Hunter, they are so virgin.
And this is sort of called in Islam as a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
So a man or a woman who has not married in their life,
Right.
they're considered to be virgins, even if they
Brother, are you a virgin? Anyway, guys, I don't want to keep you longer. I want to keep this video short. I just miss you. What I can do, I cannot resist. But this lady, her husband is not there, and she knew I'm a virgin, you know. So, so I'm going to go, and you know, before the husband come back, and even if he come back, he have to find 4 witnesses, and you know what he can do. Even if they saw 3 of them, the penis going in and out, still they have no witnesses. Even if the 4th one, he saw her legs around the neck of the guy like ears of a donkey, still they have no witnesses. I love this, brother. I love this religion. Many of you don't like it because you don't know the golden opportunity if you join this religion. And in case Muslims, they say I'm lying, here we go, this is your Islamic website, and this is the fatwa from big sheikhs. Those are not the jokers. This is what they do for a living, my friend. This is the rabbis of Islam, if we can call them rabbis. And this is the date of it. And this is the number of it. There's a number for it. 140198, brother. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Mash batata Allah. Batata. Batata. I heard the story. This story is so touching. And what is so touching too is the description of number 4, where he saw the legs, the feet and the legs of the women around the guy's head and his shoulder. And they were moving, shaking like a running donkey. I love this description. Unbelievable. This guy is so good in the lecturer. He described it so good. As if you are watching, man. But he have a problem. He did not see the penis of the man going inside the vagina. How in the world you missed that? Why you focus in the feet, in the top of the shoulders, you idiot? But what about the 3? The other 3, they saw the penis going in. Not enough. Because the Quran said we need 4. 4? 4, they have to see the penis going in and out. What if the woman wearing a skirt and she is in the top? You see nothing. Oh, well, you saw nothing. Thank you very much. She is a virgin, as you see. So I want to say thank you for being here. I apologize. This is a dirty topic, but Islam is dirty. Islam is garbage, and garbage in, garbage out. What do you expect? The Lord, He says, from their fruits you shall know them. From their fruits you shall know them. He said, be aware of false prophets who comes to you in a sheep clothing, but in reality they are wolves. This is, my friend, the teaching of a wolf. This is not the teaching of God. Have nothing to do with God. Because what is going to different to make if the three of them they saw the penis in? And the husband too. What difference does it make? The woman already, she is proving to be not a good woman. And by the way, this is the same for the man too, not only for the women. The good tree will give good fruits. The evil tree will give nothing but evil fruit. Every tree does not bear good fruit. It's cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruit, you will know them. If this man have little decency and he claimed that he is following Moses or even following what he called Isa, how that can be from God? What is godly in that? Based on this, any woman, she can cheat in her husband, and obviously the husband, he can do nothing about it, because it is impossible to bring four witnesses and they have to see the private part going in and out. It is impossible. The husband get in, he did not see the private part get in, or he saw, doesn't make any difference. Still he need four witnesses. And then the four witnesses, they have to come. And this man who is having sex, he have to show them his penis getting in. Who is going? What a stupid cult. What a disgusting cult. Garbage in, garbage out. I wanted to give you, this is for a snack. It is a Friday evening. It's snowing in many places in USA. It's very cold. And some places actually they lost electricity. I hope all of you are safe. We pray for all people to see the truth, and the truth will set them free. And we love the Muslims. We are not putting you down. We are exposing the teaching which you've been fooled into, or maybe you are born into. This is garbage. This is nothing but garbage. God bless you, and see you soon again. This is your brother, Christian Prince, who was serving you for today. And sorry I have to go, because there's a virgin waiting to practice halal fun. Take care.
But I mean, again, he doesn't know who Gabriel is, right? Because he didn't come from an Abrahamic faith. The people of Mecca were pagan.
Quran is mentioned, if this book was from other than God, they would have found in it many contradictions.
If a book is without contradictions, that has no bearing on whether it comes from God or not. I've had phone books that are inerrant, but I certainly don't think God gave them.
That we believe without understanding.
The brother asked a very important question, that most of the scholars say that listening to music, watching movies, and most of the television programs, they're haram. So how can we have fun? Let me tell you, brother, at the outset, that having fun is permitted in Islam as long as the fun is halal fun.
That the standard narrative has holes in it.
The prophet tells us because Satan or the devil sleeps over our nostrils. Those who oversleep and not pray Fajr on time, Satan urinates in their ears.
I really do think Jesus was crucified and that he really was dead and buried. He thought that he was a son of God in the sense that he was specially chosen by God. I think Jesus really did think he was going to be the Messiah, the future king of Israel. I mean, that is, after all, why they crucified him.